As I talk to you, your deputy president runs on 30 fuel guzzlers. Your prime secretary runs on 15. All your CSS run on 7 fuel guzzlers. All your PSS has 5. All the people working in the economic council has 5 each. The vehicles the government spends is a lot. I've always told you we can save around 68 billion shillings if we just spend well on just transporting your cabinet and the government. Imagine all Kenyans, if someone has 30 vehicles, that means 30 drivers. 30 vehicles, how many tires? 4 times 30. Those tires must be replaced. Brake pads. So it costs so much money. It is 300,000 shillings per month to service 1,800 vehicles at Toyota Kenya. And then again, you are giving them to a foreign company, which means capital flight. That money goes to Japan, isn't it? Why don't you give these things to be done by Kenyans? So I'm trying to say there's a need for this overhaul. The economy is able to recover, and you'll recover if you listen to what I'm saying, Mr. President. Thank you very much. My name is Professor Fred Ogola. I'm a governance and economic expert. Today, I want to talk to a very important topic going on democracy. You've heard about what's happening in Parliament, the purge in Parliament. The purge in Parliament comes from, the main basis where the purge in Parliament, this thing begins when Raila Odinga announced that he was going to AU. Immediately Raila announced he was going to AU, and he was now becoming a friend to William Ruto and Museveni. Immediately, so many things changed. Obasanjo also came to the picture. All of a sudden, Raila was now joining the government. And in joining this government, ODM and UD has been working closely. Then there comes the Gen Z revolution. So the Gen Z revolution made Ruto feel so threatened that he moved even closer to ODM and now even has hugged them. So because they have hugged each other, they also hugging has to take place in Parliament. That's why you are seeing the key committees in Parliament. ODM is demanding slots here and there. They are trying to say ODM ni ngamia ambayo imeweka kichwa, now inaweza kuingia na mwili yote. But that is not why I'm here. I'm here for a very important way to explain this. We are talking about democracy and expanding on democratic space. Raila Odinga has fought for the expansion of democratic space for a long time. But I want to say there's something missing. We will never have an extended democracy when we do not have political parties. In Kenya, we don't have political parties. What we have is what is called fraternities and sororities. These are just people who come together, and the party is owned by one person. Then they pretend there's a political party. That's not a political party. They are just furthering individual interests. That's why since independence in Kenya, we've never had any stable political party. KANU came and KANU went. PNU came and went. Rainbow came and went. NASA came and went. Jubilee came and went. And of course, Jubilee is trying to come back. So we're waiting for it to come back. So if you want to know a political party in Kenya, let me give you the image. CCM in Tanzania. That's a political party. A party that can select a candidate and dictate the candidate. If you go to South Africa, ANC is a political party. Because ANC members can recall the party leader of ANC, who is the president. And if he does not obey them, they can fire him. And when the ANC fires their party leader, the party leader ceases to be a president. And when they appoint another leader, that leader becomes the president of South Africa. You saw what happens between Zuma and Ramaphosa, isn't it? So you saw what happened with Thabo Mbeki. So the same thing can happen in Kenya. Before a political party can recall the party leader and make them lose the presidency, we have no political party. In Kenya, if you want to compare, if UDA fires William Ruto, can William Ruto cease to be the president? Never. He can even form another political party tomorrow, isn't it? And move on with it. Can ODM fire Raila Odinga? They cannot. Can Wiper fire Kalonzo Musyoka? They cannot. Can DAP fire Eugene Wamalwa? It's impossible. So when you look at all this formation, is that I'm telling Kenyans, we need to have a political party. And what should a political party do? A political party should bring people together in a country to further socio-economic progress. Is ODM doing that? Is UDA doing that? I don't think they're doing that. And let me tell you what makes a political party is that political party must have locus of control, not giving it to parliament. What do I mean by that? You see, a political party is the one which proposes candidates for election. In Kenya, once a political party has nominated you to be a candidate, once you become an MP, now you serve either the executive or your party leader. You never serve the interests of the party. Even the party can die, but you are still in parliament. Yes. But if the locus of control does not go to the political party, where the political party can dictate how members of parliament behave in parliament, there is nowhere. For example, how can opposition MP go and vote with the government in parliament and the political party cannot punish them? In South Africa, that cannot happen because the locus of control is the political party. Political parties should be with their manifesto. That's why before you register a political party, it's so important that you must have all your manifesto up and running. So for us in Kenya, I want to urge people who are forming political parties and people who are in political parties, we want political parties with the locus of control, which can control how the state runs businesses. But before we do that, when a political party belongs to an individual who dictates the way he wants, we'll only be joking. That's why we can never see Kenya progressing, because all parties are held hostage by parliament. But in Kenya, you saw, for example, the impeachment of Deputy Gachagua. It was all two people who are becoming what you call super MPs. What Raila said and Ruto determined what happened in parliament. But it will be the party leader that determines it. But not just the party leader, the party members. Did ODM agree together? Remember, even for ODM to join government, there was no NDC that declared ODM is joining government. So on what basis was ODM joining government? For UDA to welcome ODM into the government, UDA needed to have an NDC. UDA could not even hold their grassroots elections, isn't it? Now ODM is saying they're doing one. We are waiting to see that they're going to do it. Now ODM has a new party leader. There is no NDC. It was just somebody appointed her, and she's the party leader. So we are looking for political parties which have ideologies that can stand the test of time. But when you have these political parties that can are just being used and misused by individuals to do what they want, the Kenyan democracy will not be able to advance. And we cannot be able to put executive into account. For us to have independent executive, independent judiciary, and independent legislature, we must have strong political parties. Why are people saying that parliament has been emasculated and has been captured by the state? It's because we have no strong political parties. There is no ideology. They say ODM stands for social democracy, but the manifesto for Kenya is capitalistic. Kenya is a capitalist economy, and ODM is in government. And UDA also talks about social democracy. So they look the same. But the execution is capitalism. So we are having so many socialists inside socialism, but actually their capital is hiding inside socialism, furthering capitalist agendas, pretending to be true socialists. So I know that socialism is still not a solution. Left and right have issues. The issue is the balance between the left and the right. And I think that's why Mzee Jomo Kenyatta became non-aligned. That was a founding father who stood non-aligned, just to ensure we are not either with USSR or USA. And for that matter, Kenya thrived economically. So we don't want people to take sides, capitalism, socialism, no. People don't want to hear about socialism, capitalism. People want food on the table. They want healthcare that they can afford. They want education that can be able to give their children jobs. They want livelihoods to grow. They want their future to be guaranteed. And they want their comfort in their country to be provided for. They don't want to hear rhetorics of socialism, capitalism. Those are just your own ideologies. But I'm still insisting on strong political parties that can have a say on whatever is a key decision in the country. Because if we don't go that way, you know, after Raila Odinga is going, ODM will go. After Baba goes to AU. And also after Ruto leaves the government, UDA will also die. But I think this time when Raila Odinga is going to AU with all the blessings, I want to explain that Kenyans should all stand behind Raila Odinga. It feels so unfortunate. I'm seeing some Kenyans even making posters for this Yusuf man from Djibouti. I'm asking myself, if a Kenyan is running, why should a Kenyan make a poster for another citizen of another country? Do you even know that person? Have you worked with them? Have they created an impact in this country? And that is just pure hatred. Whenever Raila Odinga is fighting for Kenyans, Kenyans are saying, wow, wow, jamba, jamba, jamba. When Raila wants something, we stand opposite. Is that not hypocrisy? Raila Odinga deserves to become AUC for the following reason. One, by Raila going to AUC will position Kenya to the global space. Kenya will be known in the whole of Africa more prominently. Secondly, Raila is somebody who has branded himself like a Pan-Africanist very well. So he'll champion the Pan-African idea of Kenya, even to be able to challenge the Western nations to be able to bring funds that are able to support African Union without putting Africa into captivity. You know, AU is being funded by Western forces like US, UK, but the person there is very weak. We need somebody stronger than Musa Faki. Who knew Musa Faki before Raila was running? Now it's Raila who has made us know Musa Faki. That means Raila should actually qualify to become AUC. Thirdly, Raila will bring for us many foreign investors. When Raila is there will be a lot of foreign investors. Remember when Raila was actually being polled to be able to win the election, already very many foreign investors wanted to come to Kenya. When Raila goes to AU, this could also happen. Foreign investors coming to Africa, even if it does not reach Kenya directly, there will be some overflows that will come to Kenya. But also, you know, Raila Odinga has been a Luo who has been said, oh, Luos cannot rule, Luos are circumcised. So if Raila Odinga become the AUC chair, it removed that voodoo. That caste they say Luos cannot rule will be removed properly, and it actually will be a pride for the Luo community, but not just Luos, but also for Kenya as a whole. Remember also, Amina Mohammed did not win. So if Raila Odinga wins, it will be like that time there was just bad luck, but Kenyans actually can win AUC. If Kenyans don't win AUC this time, people start believing that Kenya will never win. That voodoo will be difficult to remove. And lastly, Raila is very eloquent and very educated person in terms of matters of Africa. Raila can tell about African issues at the palm of his hand. He can tell you how many tarmac roads are in Africa, how many kilometers, how much unpaved roads are there, and what can be done to improve it. So I believe so strongly that you need to give it to him. Even for the sake that William Ruto is supporting him, I agree that William Ruto will help him out. I understand, even if you don't like William Ruto or not, we're being told that William Ruto has never lost any single political duel. This one, he's not losing. And I can see that he's going to make Raila AUC chair. And if Raila goes, it will work very great. And I want to tell the Gen Z who feels betrayed, that Raila betrayed them during the Gen Z evolution. I was on the street. I ate tear gas. I was beaten. I've been arrested. I was part of the Gen Z revolution. But here, don't think negatively. Raila is passing the baton to you. So when you have space to operate. Even leaders want to emerge from Luo Nyanza, you can now emerge because of the fact that there's space. But you cannot go to Raila where Raila Odinga is sitting and people can hear you. Who can hear you when Raila Odinga is president? He has to go to AU so that people can even hear what you are saying. Because whatever Raila is saying is too loud that no one can hear what you are saying. Even if there's no talk, just him sitting here, no one listens to you. People just even want just to watch him. So the Gen Z take this positively. Don't cry for too long that your tears stop you from seeing sunrise. The sun will rise immediately Raila takes AUC chair. I want to urge you in social media, even as you listen to this, like it and start spreading the news. Raila must go to AUC. It's very critical for this country, not just for the pride, but even for the economic well-being of the country. Thank you. I am Professor Fred Ogola. I am one of the Concerned Citizens Movement convener. I am here with my brother Dennis. You know very well that there are so many issues to address today. First, I want to talk to you about why SHA needs an overhaul. We start by saying the president said himself in Embu that he will review SHA. So now we want to bring our voice to send to the president what to consider on the review of SHA. First, what is the problem? The problem of SHA starts from governance and leadership. You saw the firing of the CEO by the board, and we believe that this, first of all, the board of SHA is not well appropriated. All the clinical officers who worked for the government stated they need a whole overhaul of that leadership of the board plus management. So we don't just have to sacrifice one person to show us there's something happening. The whole system of governance, Mr. President, and the management is in problem. So you must remove it. Secondly, we need to introduce what's called accountability. Accountability can only happen when there's transparency. The system in SHA is completely opaque, and for the opaqueness of that system, it will not release the right results. Just like IBC results were opaque, this process was opaque, and the system was opaque. So we want that system to be well streamlined so that everybody can tell. We are hearing Twitter report by saying, oh, 17 million people have registered. How do you know? We are hearing only 700,000 people have contributed. How do you know? We want a system which can be verifiable, which can be tested, and can actually be accountable. The other thing which is important is that the legal foundation of SHA has a problem. Because the formation of SHA as even an entity did not follow the legal procedure, that's why you are seeing so many legal court cases. These legal court cases take a lot of money from the authority. Instead of putting the money in patients, now the money which has been contributed is being taken to represent the government in courts. The courts are eating too much of our money, making lawyers rich, but patients suffering in poverty. The fifth problem is that the thing is grossly underfunded. Grossly underfunded because NHIF has a legacy debt of 30 billion, which has not been paid to service providers, which includes the private companies, and even the faith-based institutions. That's where the bishop raised their voice. If that 30 billion is not being paid, how is SHA going to take off? The second thing is that actuarial projections for the underwriting of the SHA needs 50 billion shillings. But you are being told only 5 billion has been availed. How can you work with, how can you be able to deliver a project with a budget of 50 billion when you are given 5 billion? That cannot work. The sixth problem is that the uptake is low, which means people don't trust it. Out of the 17.3 billion people who have registered, we are being told only 700,000 have paid. Those 700,000 have been forced because the money must be deducted by the employers before they receive their salary. We want more voluntary. So out of these 700,000, how many of them are doing voluntarily? Meaning that the system is being forced by law, not by willingness. People don't see value. So there is need for the Kenyan government to sell this SHA to the Kenyans so that they can believe that it's a solution for their health. That not being done, it might just look like a very big joke. What is the solution? The solution of, number one, we need an overhaul in the management of that board, like I said earlier. Two, we need to have a lean and clean system. Third, we need to run this thing as a project. What do I mean by as a project? A project begins by initiation. Initiation means what are the needs, problems, and opportunities? What is the plan? How will it be executed? What is the M&E process, monitoring and evaluation, why we need it to happen on time, quality, and within budget? And then also it must be a closure. The fourth solution is we need it to run as an entity concept, whereby we are mixing SHA and NHIF. SHA is an entity, NHIF is an entity. The problem is NHIF should go to NHIF, not being brought to SHA. And then the fifth one, involve stakeholders, please. Most importantly, involve the contributors who are the patients. Ensure you involve the service providers. Ensure that the health service workers are also involved so that everybody can have buy-in. With the proper buy-in, it will be very easy for everybody to be able to support SHA to succeed. All people who are having dissenting voices, instead of arresting them and abducting them, please bring them to the discussion so that in the end, this thing can succeed in a big way. But if we are forcing things because we have the force, it won't happen. This cannot be forced down the throats of Kenyans because Kenyans need to uptake it. The doctors need to support it. The insurance companies need to be onboarded. And therefore, every Kenyans need to have a goodwill so that SHA can be able to succeed. Thank you. So to make that system work, we need to do a proper stakeholder analysis and mapping. Who are the stakeholders who have power? The ones with the power is patients, doctors, and health service providers. If you don't bring them there, we'll suffer. Then again, we have people who have what is called legitimacy. Now, the church has legitimacy because of what? The church run hospital, whether it is ACK, whether it's Pentecostal churches, PCA, whether it's the Catholic Church. Remember that almost 42% of healthcare services sits in the private sector and faith-based. And faith-based has a bigger chunk of the private sector hospitals. And therefore, if you don't involve them, who will register the patients for you? Because I remember that there was a lot of cooperation between NHIF and the faith-based organizations in registering patients and even encouraging them to pay. Even education for them is key. The other thing which is important is that we are playing with a very big opportunity, which is healthcare. India earns, in terms of foreign direct investment, not actually foreign exchange, $27.8 billion every year in exporting pharmaceutical products and also exporting vaccine. So why don't Kenya work on a better process instead of just thinking about taxation and paying this little money and stealing this little money we have here? Why don't we focus on revamping our manufacturing sector so that we can even manufacture the drugs which will be used in hospitals, and therefore the contribution for SHA will make impact because we shall be using our own medicine instead of rushing, this and that. And also remember that Kenya also has opportunity to do health tourism. India earns $7.8 billion in the last 10 years in health tourism. It is projected in the next 10 years, India will earn $43.6 billion in health tourism. Why in Kenya for us we are just having a crumbling healthcare sector? Instead of looking at the opportunities that are big in the sector, we are fighting over the small cake which is being baked. So I want to ask Mr. President, can you please get serious health experts, serious strategists, who can help you rethink the thing? Because what is happening is that the people next to you are not advising you well. You need people who will not tell you what you want to hear. They'll tell you what you must hear. And what you ought to hear is more important than what you want to hear. Anybody who is a friend of yours advising you that you're in the right track, he's simply not interested in the success of Kenya. I know anybody can say what you want. Some people are praying you fail. But no, your failure means a lot. Your failure means someone is dying in a hospital, cannot access diabetic treatment, cannot access arthritis treatment, cannot get chemotherapy, so your failure means death to Kenyans. So for us, we are not wishing you failure. We are wishing you success in this SHA thing. If you cannot do it, it's not broken, go back to NHIF. Because NHIF was working. But if you believe you can turn it around, do an overhaul in this system, because the people around you are just stealing. They are not concerned about executing healthcare for Kenya. There's nothing you can do without life. And therefore, we were not going to compromise this. I advise you as an academic, I advise you as an expert, and I advise you also as a Kenyan, who not only loves Kenya, but also loves the success and the legacy that Kenya brings with it. I think that is the direction you need to go. Do a proper analysis. I hear you are hiring consultants. I'm looking at the list that is there. I don't see there's anybody there who has delivered something so special that can be able to help you succeed. When you hire consultants, hire people who are worthy of turning around healthcare. Because remember, all of us are Kenyans. Kenya is our business, and our business is Kenya. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Professor Fred Ogola. I want to talk to you about why we need to understand that bishops are the national conscience for our country. In the few days, the Catholic bishops especially have been trending to have called the press conference and told the president to stop lying. And of course, the government have responded through different agencies, disregarding what the bishops have said. My view to the government is, please listen to what the bishop says. Can you imagine a country without a conscience? And who represents the Kenyan national conscience? The Kenyan national conscience is represented by the church. And the bishop, the Catholic Church, is one of that key stakeholder. Even if you are to bring 50 bishops, the truth does not change, that the bishops are right. And I want to explain this in a fundamental manner. And I want to ask Mr. President, the only point upon which you talk to God is your conscience. You talk to God through your conscience. If you have lost your conscience, you cannot hear what God is saying. Even when the bishop says something, you will still feel it's wrong because there is no conscience. Your conscience is the church. The bishops, the church, worked so hard for your election. And if they supported you, even if they didn't support, of course I'm hearing that, according to me, we know only Pentecostal churches supported the election of the president. The Catholic Church never always comes clear about their position in the election. I remember when I was running for MP of Ugenya, even my own parish priest could not allow me to have an advantage over other candidates who are non-Catholics. So the Catholic Church would not be, you cannot bring any evidence that the Catholic bishops were supporting the current government. They didn't even support the other arm of government called, the other opponent called Azimio. So what I want to say is bishops remain the conscience, the national conscience. And let me explain this in a very theological way, because you know I'm a theologian, I have a degree in theology. Pope John Paul II, the one who set the stage for all this, he set the basis of this when he wrote the book called Veritatis Splendor. In 1993, I was a class 6. Veritatis Splendor is a Latin word to mean the beauty of the truth. It says, you will know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So just Kenyans, if we don't know the truth, then we cannot be free. The fundamental of the truth is that the truth sets people free. So the Pope is infallible in matters faith and moral. And lying or not lying is a moral issue. Being truthful, being honest is a moral issue. So the bishops cannot be wrong when the Pope is infallible in matters faith and moral. I know people are arguing that the bishops, there are some things they said which were not scientifically accurate. That does not matter. The bishops also learn science. And remember also, there is no fight between science and faith. There is no fight between reason and faith. Do you know why? The same author of faith is God. The same author of reason and science is God. That reason you have in your head to oppose the bishop is from God. And the bishops are agents of God. And therefore, the bishops cannot be wrong. They cannot be wrong. If they are right in faith, there is no way they can be contradicting science. Because faith does not contradict science, and science cannot contradict faith. Unless we are talking about unsound science. Only unsound science can be able to contradict with faith. And anytime science is unsound, it ceases to be science. And therefore, these people are right. So I want to tell you that even the term limits that they said the bishops were not supposed to speak about, I want to tell you that bishops had to put on record that they are not opposed to the extension of term limit, whether now, in the past, and in future. So whether it was rejected already in Senate, it does not matter. They have to put that on record. I want to take you back to what happened in Rwanda. When they wanted to amend the constitution in Rwanda to extend the term of Kagame and make him a life president, Kagame went and opposed it. And it was opposed in parliament by his agents. But they were just playing games. They knew very well they wanted. So even this one, I think the bishops have been guided by faith and by the illumination of the Holy Spirit. That these are games being played that has been rejected, yet it is something cooking. I'm sure Cheragei had no powers whatsoever to come out with that thing on his own. He's an agent of somebody, and therefore the bishops had to clarify that rightly. And I want to explain, why do you think the bishops identified and said stop lying? What is the danger of lying? No, when a government that is lying, first of all, let me tell you what, all governments lie. Even American government do lie. But the problem with lying is that if you continuously lie, can you be taken as a going concern as government? When the government says we are going to affordable housing should be seen. If it's not there, people normally listen to the government policy. They invest their money on acquiring equipment for affordable housing. People go for training depending on what the government says is the main driver of the economy. Now, after they've invested their time, they've invested their resources, then what the government says does not happen. It can actually become very problematic. In fact, I want to tell you, if you want to know how dangerous a lie is, suppose you have a mechanic who tells you that he has installed the state-of-the-art brakes in your car, and you are going for a long trip. Then you go at 120 or 180 kilometers per hour, only to step on the brake and find they are not there. Are you alive? You are dead. Can you imagine a government that tells you that SHA and SHIF is working? Then you take your mother or father to a hospital and found out they cannot be treated because of SHA and SHIF. You have lost your parents. And no, as a government, why lying is dangerous, government has scale. One pronouncement from the president affects the 47 counties. So this is not like a village liar who can lie to his mother and father. This is a lie that can affect the whole country. That's why we need to abhor it, and we need to support the bishops in abhorring it by telling people that lying is such a big danger. And I know people say, politics is dirty. Politics, there's no one who is honest. No. The head of state is a symbol of unity. The head of state also is a symbol, actually is a mentor. People look forward to him. He inspires people. President William Ruto inspired the whole country when he became president with the first trial. Now he should inspire us by telling us the truth, not the opposite. In fact, I want to insist that it's very important that we need to set out what's called a truth checker to check whether these people are telling us the truth, because truth is so important that even determines your success. Obama has featured as the least dishonest president of the US in the last few years. We need to ensure that happens. Trump actually is being said that he's three-quarters of what he says are true. That also says that there's some bit of lie. Joe Biden is stated to have, in the lying zone, Joe Biden has 45% of what he says are mostly untrue. So people say, what is the legitimacy of all this lying? What is so legitimate about lying to the public in democracy where government is supposed to be accurate to its people? Democratic accountability requires there is active and informed opinion, and government lying defeats that very democracy. While all government lies, the most troubling government lies is that one which is presumptive. The one that tells you this is the way to go. Presumptive lies is very dangerous because there are some lies which has no one to affect. We call them in neutral lies. They are what we call good lies. We call them white lies. They also call neutral lies, but they also call dark lies. So the ones that is happening in Kenya are dark lies because they are meant to mislead people, to persuade people to do things which are not going to work. So when the stakes are high, the government still is expected to say the truth, because that is when it matters. Because imagine if the doctor should tell whether this patient can survive by operation or by taking medication, and when those stakes are that high is when the doctor decides to lie. It is expected that when the stakes are high is when we know who can be accountable, who can be responsible, who can be honest. And I want to say the following. When the bishop said stop lying, they have not asked for something big. They have not asked you to build a new airport, which needs a lot of money. They have not asked you to build a new highway like Thika Highway. They have not asked you to build expressway. They have not asked for SGR. You don't need money to stop lying. Simply stop lying. People ask me, how should a government stop lying? They should just stop lying. You just stop. The answer is stop. Because I see these promises they are making, no one has asked them. And I tell Mr. President, to help you here, read the book called The One Thing. The one thing is this: choose one thing and do. Not today, SHA, Chief, Adani, SGR, airport, ports authority, taxation, I don't know, affordable housing. Just what is that one thing that you can do that no one will go to court, because we are tired of people going to court challenging everything you're trying to do. And I want to ask you, if you do one thing well, Kenyans will start trusting you to do the next one. But if you go for everything and there's nothing which is working, then you are going to be attacked. Look at the amount of money being spent in court cases. Look at the amount of state time being spent in court. You want to change everything. Just take one thing you will change and will work soundly without interference, and you'll succeed, Mr. President. I believe that all Kenyans want to succeed. Even if they don't like you, you must succeed. We don't even have to like you. You are the president. You have these years remaining. Please just get it done. Thank you. When you're ready, tell me. My name is Professor Fred Ogola. I'm one of the conveners for Concerned Citizens Movement. Today I want to talk to you about why there is no circulation of money. People are having too many theories. Some are agreeing, some are denying. But the truth is that there is no money in circulation. That is the truth. We are being told the economy is growing at 5.2%. But is your pocket growing at 5.2%? Those are just, what is growing is how much revenue the government is collecting in terms of taxes. And they are collecting them from you. We are being told inflation has gone down. But inflation is a comparison to how it was. So don't believe that. So one reason why money is, we are having less money in circulation, and Kenyans are economically bonded, is one. The economy is emotional. And because the economy is emotional, people are talking, breathing a lot of negativity in the economy. It began with the very day the president was sworn in, and his deputy president, the former deputy president, they said the economy is broke, Kenya is broke, and that negativity, they have not come back to say now we are okay. They are talking about Bay of Wunga, but they need to tell us whether the economy has recovered. We need to breathe positivity to the economy so that we can be able to get money circulating. You cannot be caning the cow and you are milking it. So we must ensure the cow is happy, give this cow grass, water, please the cow. So let us breathe positivity to the economy so that we can be helped to come out of this economic problem. The second thing is expensive loans. The loans are way too expensive. Imagine the interest rate for the loans in Kenya is 28%. Now, if the interest rate is 28%, which entrepreneur can go and borrow money from the economy and put in a business? I can challenge you this for free. You cannot use 2 million shillings. If I give you capital of 2 million shillings, there is no single business you can run where you can earn a monthly income of 50,000. It's impossible. You cannot. Which means we have very many poor millionaires. If 2 million cannot give you income of 50,000 per month, how can you pay rent? Can you take a child to school? Medical. Can you pay your medical bill? So it means that we have very many poor millionaires who have 2 million and cannot go anywhere. So that is a very big discouraging. So you find that what is happening is that government should lower the interest rate. Number 3, heavy government borrowing. The government is borrowing too much. Because the government is borrowing at 18%, risk-free, so instead of the investors putting money in the economy by starting a business to offer employment to Kenyans, they are instead lending the money to the government through the bonds. And they can make 18% interest rate. And how many business can you make 18% ROI? They are not very many. Risk-free. You just have to do nothing. Just sit on your bed and you earn 18%. But most businesses, you'll put a lot of money, run like a headless chicken, but still get 18%. So why should you struggle? Why should you hustle if you can just put your money in the government treasury bonds, treasury bills, and earn your 18%? So the government needs to borrow less from the local domestic banks and borrow money wherever they want, but borrowing we don't even need in the first case. Number 4 is high taxes. When taxes are very high, you reduce what is called income. You also limit what's called alternative incomes. And then the consumer spending comes down. And therefore, money is low in circulation. That's why you're seeing those selling clothes, mark my words, those selling accessories like watches, those selling electronics, you realize no one is buying from you, because when we have less alternative income, we have less disposable income, we don't spend them on luxury products. So anybody selling business or luxury, those importing cars, second-hand clothes, those selling shoes, those selling hair wear, cosmetics, you'll discover that there's less spending to you. And when we are spending less on you, you are getting broke and broke. And that's why I know there's no money in circulation. In fact, I would urge the government that they should actually try to reduce the taxes so that there's more economic activity. And when there's more economic activity, you realize there's more money in circulation, and therefore things will work. The fifth one is the national, county governments and large corporations are delaying payments to suppliers in the so-called pending bills. We have over 900 billion pending bills which have not been paid. This means people offer their goods and services to the national government, to the county governments, and they're not getting it back. So county is not paid in the last 4 months. That's serious. So healthcare, education sector are all trouble of funds. Remember that this is a problem because even if you look at the last academic year where people are supplying their maize and beans and stationery to schools, they have not been paid. So now they are going for Christmas without being paid. Are they going to spend money on Christmas? No. How is the local tourism going to be affected? Hugely. So how are people going to have Christmas? I'm seeing Christmas is in the air, but it's not going to land. It's not going to download because money is not in circulation. The sixth reason is there is economic uncertainty because policy, this forces investors and Kenyans to keep their cash. We are having a lot of uncertainty. And this uncertainty in the economy is creating a lot of problems. Every day you wake up and find something has changed. The seventh reason is there is too many policy change, creating a lot of fiscal or we call it tax instability, leading to cautious spending and investment. Remember, if you're an investor, today you wake up, another tax in the newspaper. Tomorrow you wake up, another policy is there. And now you see she. You see here, Adeni. The other day you saw, for example, that now your phone will be monitored by KRA. So you are wondering, where are we heading? And now people will even start now using what's called mulkamizi. No one will buy a smartphone. Government is also tracing people's contacts using smartphones. So for the so-called unlawful arrest, abductions, so people will be fearing buying a smartphone because a smartphone is too smart for you that the government can use to arrest you. So these are some of the problems we have. So as a solution, because we are not here to cry, as concerned citizens, what is the solution? I have 7 solutions just in the same way I had 7 problems. The first one is inject positivity into the economy. Let us take our business to start looking at which areas the economy is working, how can it work. We cannot be here shouting and wishing the economy to collapse, yet we are eating from the same economy. Because it's like you are in a boat, and you are drilling holes in a boat, and you are sitting inside the boat. Or you are sitting in a branch of a tree, and cutting the same branch, and you are believing you are going to be safe. So Kenya, let us wake up and breathe positivity to the economy. As I told you, economy is just emotional. Let our economy feel emotional. Even if you want a girl, you cannot be insulting this girl and you want her to marry you. You must talk to her positively, just like milking a cow. The second one is stimulus packages. The president has been offering more austerity measures than stimulus packages. Stimulus in the economy. Stimulus in the economy could just mean, for example, hiyo kazi ya vijana pesa itembee. Pesa ya wazee itembee. Hiyo pesa ya linda mama itolewe. Hizo mapending bills zilipwe. Kila mtu mwenye amefanya kazi, let him be paid. When money starts moving in the economy, you realize, oh guys, the economy is doing well. Let's start talking about it. Like now, today is Monday, everybody is sober. Before Monday used to be a very heavy day. Why Kenyans not used to like Monday is that they used to spend a good time over the weekend. Well, today when I was on the road, everybody is working. In fact, I'm sorry to say that when I was living in Langata Road, over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, there used to be a lot of cars that had accidents flying over the fences because guys were drunk. Nowadays, those things are not seen because people are too sober to cause accidents. I'm not saying accidents are good. I'm telling you signs that the economy is suffering. So stimulus package is important. The third one is work on the ease of doing business. Kenya is the worst in ease of doing business. Kenya is only better than South Sudan, which is the last born of Africa. That is not good because there's corruption in the system, there's a lot of red tape in the system, there's a lot of waiting, everything you wait. You apply for ID, you wait longer. Passport, you wait longer. You apply to register your company, you wait for longer. Even you want to pay taxes, paying taxes, even you wait longer. Everything needs to be streamlined. We need a lot of ease of doing business. Too much bureaucracy is not helping. Introducing too many laws and policies do not work. When people are good, even if God reduced the laws to one, love, because we had a lot of 10, there are so many commandments. They reduced them to 12 commandments. Then Jesus put them into 2. Love your neighbor and love yourself. And the main word was love. So these too many laws and policies are not helping us. They help destabilize the economy. Stabilize Kenyan's fiscal policy. What I'm asking, Mr. President, too much changes in policy around taxation about the economy disrupt the economy every now and then. Even if a child is growing, allow the child to grow in a certain environment. You cannot be taking this child to Mombasa. Tomorrow they are speaking Pokomo. Today they are speaking Kikuyu. Then they speak Luo. Then they speak Swahili. Then they speak English. It will take this child forever to learn the language. That's why sometimes you must be consistent about 1 or 2 languages. Then after they pick those 2 languages, they can use those languages as a basis to learn another language. Can you imagine you have no language and someone is trying to teach you using another language? So if you know English, they can use English to teach you French. You cannot use no language to teach Spanish or German. So stability is needed. The 5th one is accountability, transparency, and integrity in the public and private system so that we can have a clean and lean system of government. The 6th one, adjust interest rates. Lower the interest rates to allow the private sector to access money. You don't need even to tell them you are creating jobs for them. They'll just realize jobs are being created. Then you see taxes coming to your pocket. So just allow the private sector to do business. Don't even compete with them. Allow them to do business. The 7th one is, and ask you, Mr. President, listen to me carefully. We need to have a national convention on debt and corruption. We need to go to meet in Bomas with the 2 roles, not about public participation, to impeach anybody. Let us meet in Bomas to discuss the issue of debt and corruption. Then you have to create what we call an efficiency system. Donald Trump has talked about efficiency commission to kill all the wastages,